This presentation is over the film The Virgin Suicides. The social issue that I chose to discuss that is presented throughout the film is the importance of recognizing mental illnesses in our youth and how dire the consequences can be if not properly addressing the situation. The film begins with Cecilia, the youngest of the Lisbon sisters, and her attempt to take her own life. She's admitted to a hospital and greeted by one of the doctors. The doctor asks her, "Why are you here? You have no idea how bad life gets," which completely invalidates all of her evident struggles. She then goes to a second doctor. That doctor also has no intent on finding the root of her problem. She is only told that things get worse and that this was simply a cry for attention. And the act of nullifying one's legitimate issues can only worsen the situation, and in Cecilia's case, it did. It caused her to take her own life. Maybe if she was properly treated, giving some treatment plans, or even had a second to discuss why she's here, it could have saved her life.
I'm going to show you some images, and you tell me what they remind you. Okay?
A banana. A swamp. An afro.
I don't think Cecilia truly meant to end her life. Her act was a cry for help. I know you're very strict, but I think that Cecilia would benefit by having a social outlet outside of the codification of school, where she can interact with males her own age.
This scene shows the doctor, after talking with Cecilia, meeting with the parents to discuss how to go from here. He states that there's nothing wrong with Cecilia. She didn't want to die. She just wants some social interaction. The irony of that statement is shown in about 20 minutes later of the film, where Cecilia successfully takes her own life at a party that is thrown for her. This is only the first display of obvious mismanagement when it comes to mental health care. The second is shown within the Lisbon parents. The Lisbon girls are allowed to go to homecoming. They stay out, they have a great time, until Lux does not come home at curfew. She comes home the next day, and severe punishment is distributed between all of the Lisbon girls.
Given Lux's failure to make curfew, everyone expected a crackdown. But few anticipated it would be so drastic. The girls were taken out of school, and Mrs. Lisbon shut the house in maximum security isolation. She had done more than just take the girls out of school. That Sunday, arriving home from a spirited church sermon, Mrs. Lisbon commanded Lux to destroy her rock records.
Now!
Mom!
This is final, Luxie.
That's not fair!
I said now. Now, Luxie. Come on.
Hold on. A kiss. Please don't make me do this.
Burn it. for now. Give me these. Give me these. I'll put them in the trash. Oh.
This scene shows the aftermath of Lux's choices. Not only was she punished, but her sisters were as well. Brutal punishment was allocated amongst the sisters as they were taken out of school, which was their only social interaction with their peers. They also had their own personal items destroyed, and they are now stuck in the bleak and depressing setting that they called their home. Such severe punishment at such a young and developing age had a major negative impact on the girls. This is seen in Lux as she is devastated by the loss of her records. The girls decided to rebel. Lux decided to have extreme intimate encounters on the roof, as the other girls had secret meetings with the other boys in the neighborhood. The rebelling and misbehavior of the young girls was a desperate cry for help that went unanswered. The Lisbon parents thought that the harsh discipline for their girls would be best, but it only drove them to a point of no return. Though the virgin suicide is an extreme example on how mental health affects our youth, it still accurately represents how society views mental health as a whole. The doctors throughout the film, the parents, and the kids' social peers all seemed to completely disregard the fact that the girls were obviously struggling. There were multiple indications of the girls being mentally distraught, all of which were ignored, giving the film a gruesome conclusion of losing all 5 of the girls. The sisters throughout the virgin suicides displayed obvious signs of distress and indications of struggling mentally that, with proper attention and treatment, could have saved 5 young lives. Children are in an age of trying to find themselves. In that age of adolescence, it is important to know who you are. It's not uncommon for children to start having negative thoughts in times where they feel alone and overwhelmed in situations like this. Society is wanting them to know who they are, and it's even more difficult when you have underlying and untreated mental illnesses. The virgin suicide is just a major sign for society as a whole to recognize these mental illnesses. Look out for the signs. Young Cecilia so many that all went completely unnoticed. Same with all of the other Lisbon girls. Signs throughout the film were shown and completely thrown to the side. Look out for these signs, and you could help save a life.